Hey guys, it's Mike here, and today I want to do a community response video in which I'm going to be posing a question to the community, to everyone over here on my community tab on my YouTube channel. And that question that I'm going to pose, I feel like is an incredibly important question when it comes to determining not only the legacy of the Tournament of Power, but of the character of Jiren himself. And that question is, will you still care about Jiren after he loses? So essentially right now, Jiren is basically an unstoppable defeating machine instead of killing in this case. He is throwing people around like rag dolls. He's eliminated someone like Hit, who is one of the most powerful people on the team. He's taken on Goku and Vegeta with the Kaioken and whatever Vegeta's form is, Royal Blue, I guess. And he has even fought Goku's next form, his Ultra Instinct, and still been able to defeat him without even going full power. And as a result, a lot of fans really seem to be into Jiren as a character, you know, his dominance, how badass he is basically, and kind of how he is as a character in terms of being this unstoppable heel, to use wrestling terms. However, the thing is that Jiren himself doesn't really have much of a character, or doesn't really have much development aside from the fact that he's ridiculously strong, stronger than Toppo, stronger than his own god of destruction, maybe stronger than all of the gods of destruction, although I'm not going to go so far as to say that at the moment. But the thing is that Jiren's appeal right now is largely because of how dominant and badass he is. So the question is, when you take that away from him, his undefeated dominance, and you just give him a loss, are people still going to care about him when he's not the person who can beat anyone? Once he's been beaten, will you care? So that's what this video is going to get into. So let me get into some of the responses which I have gotten on this poll. Now, first off, getting into the poll itself, it appears that a lot of people are leaning in the no direction. So basically, a lot of people are saying that they won't care about Jiren after this loss, you know, whether he loses in the Tournament of Power, or, you know, let's say even if Jiren were to win the Tournament of Power, it's some gigantic twist, you know, he's still likely going to lose some point down the line. There isn't one character in Dragon Ball who's really shown up and, you know, dominated everyone and never been beaten. And I don't really expect Jiren to suddenly be that one character who's like that. So let's get into some of your thoughts on this as to what you think will happen as far as your perception goes after Jiren finally loses. So first up is Gardatrace, and they're answering no. I still don't care about him. He's got as much personality as a brick wall. Why should I give two shits about him later? Yeah, again, you know, there's a lot of people who are taking this perspective. Why should I care about a character who's not developed? A character who, you know, it seems like might not get much development before Super is over within oh so many episodes, and who knows how long the tournament's going to last compared to like how long the epilogue is going to be at this point. So if you don't care about Jiren now, it's going to take a lot, I feel like, to make you care about him in the future, especially after he takes his first loss. Okay, so Dookie saying, yes, if Jiren loses, I'm calling bullshit, honestly. Universe 7's plot armor is amazing. Realistically, Jiren would go full power and knock literally everyone off the stage, but, well, we wouldn't have an arc. And then the poop emoji. So maybe I should have read it in Patrick Stewart's voice. Ugh, come on, Patrick Stewart. Please stop being in movies like that. They're awful. But yeah, you know, I feel like, again, a lot of people are going to pull a Broly here. You know, when he lost in the original movie, people today are still complaining about that. Like, oh, Broly didn't lose. It was plot armor. He lost because of the plot. I mean, obviously, like, that's how a lot of these Dragon Ball villains, I guess technically every single one of them lose, because plot. They usually show up, they're ridiculously dominant, especially the movie villains. They beat everybody up, and then some random plot device happens, like, you know, Goku's Super Saiyan, or the Spirit Bomb, or Ultra Instinct, or Super Saiyan 2, or Fusion, which was a complete failure, so maybe not that. But pretty much all these villains fall to some sort of plot device or Deus Ex Machina. But the fact of the matter is, like, yeah, realistically, if we were using logic from Dragon Ball and Z, you know, the two shows that preceded this in terms of, like, the continuity, but realistically, Jiren could have just stepped into the center of the ring. It's not like anyone can move him out of it, and then he could have just powered up to full power, and all of the energy just coming off of him would have sent everyone flying out of the ring, you know? I mean, it would have sent his own people out of the ring as well, but, you know, it's not like he seems to care about them, or really anything in the anime. But yeah, it's dumb, but can you really look at Dragon Ball Super, and especially this current arc, and say that the writing makes perfect sense? So yeah, realistically, there's just problems with the writing, and, you know, that's all of Dragon Ball, really, but Super is definitely taking the cake there in some regards. No, he doesn't like they have to vote to leave a comment. I don't care about Jiren now, barely any personality, his design's boring, and he's just a stepping stone for the next transformation. It's hard to get into a character like that, especially with the potential that Toppo had. So yeah, I mean, honestly, I've said it though, and the next person even says it too, I will care about Toppo. Toppo is a way better character than Jiren. I know that Jiren's like, I'm badass, get that rubbish out of here. Ugh, warrior, sleep. You know, like literally all the dialogue he's had in the entire show so far, except for, you know, when he revealed himself to be, I guess, a secret asshole at the end of the previous episode. But the thing is that Toppo is a way better character. Not only has Toppo just been awesome since the beginning, you know, fighting against Super Saiyan Blue Goku and still pushing himself past, like, Goku's blue levels in the tournament himself, like, dominating at some points characters like Frieza, 17, even Vegeta, and then having his own story arc where he throws away his ideas of justice so that he could accept his role as God of Destruction and achieve the means to defend his universe and save it from being erased. But of course, it's Dragon Ball Super, so they completely dropped the ball on that, and even though I did think it was pretty awesome when he was that God of Destruction Toppo, and I thought his fight against Vegeta, you know, was cool at the time, the more I've thought about it, the less I've liked how they eliminated Toppo, and the more I feel like his character was likely wasted potential. And again, it's the same thing that happens throughout Dragon Ball, where they introduce an awesome side villain or secondary antagonist like Deborah, like Tagoma, like Toppo, who is better than the main villain of the arc he's in, and then they basically just waste him. So Toppo in many ways was way better done than Deborah, but the fact of the matter is he still has some of those shortcomings, and really, they really wanted to make it all about this big one versus everyone fight, with everyone fighting against Jiren like another Dragon Ball Z movie. And I just think it was a big disappointment for them to go in that direction, because it's a big battle royal tournament. Why the hell does it have to be all these people versus one guy? You know, and that's pretty much all it comes down to. But of course, I'll elaborate more on this in the future. Yes, I mostly just want to know his backstory. I mean, hopefully we'll get some semblance of a backstory at this point, other than he's a pride trooper. He fights for justice. He only will fight in the tournament because he gets a wish in the manga, which makes him seem like an even bigger asshole. It'd be nice. It'd be nice. No, I really haven't cared about him since he was introduced. He can accidentally fall off the stage, and I don't think that I would have a reaction. I mean, I would laugh, but then again, I'd probably be really annoyed after that. Considering how bad the writing for Super actually is, honestly, one could almost assume that something as lackluster will actually happen. Maybe they should have just kept Monaka in the tournament. I mean, you know, imagine if Monaka knocked Jiren off. It'd be dumb. No, there's still time left, and Jiren finally showed some emotion last episode, so I don't know yet, but for right now, he's a boring wall that is only popular because he's strong and quote-unquote mysterious. And it really is crazy that people, you know, it shows you just how boring and bland Jiren as a character has been so far, that when he's showing a hint of emotion all of a sudden, people are like, wow, this is amazing, Jiren's actually smiling, he's doing something, you know, it's just like, Okay, plenty of characters do that too, but they're also significantly better characters. You know, it's maybe if Jiren was like a boring robot like Data from Star Trek The Next Generation that literally couldn't show emotion, and then over the course of the arc, you know, he slowly started to become more emotional and he actually exhibited those signs, then him actually showing some emotion now would be a lot more interesting. But right now it just is like, why were you so boring before? And why are you suddenly showing emotion when there's 5 episodes left in the entire series? And we've been talking about you for what, 50? Ugh, Jiren. No, with the anime, they haven't done anything to make us care about him. No, he has no character. Why would anyone care? Laugh out loud. No, this guy holds zero intrigue. He just happens to be important to the plot for the time being, and he's an effing prick for talking shit about his crew. I mean, it's Dragon Ball. They're not really known for being subtle, so maybe they're like, oh, Jiren's the final boss. He's the final antagonist. Let's just make him evil. Let's make him not like his own people, even though why would he even be a part of their team if he thought they were all pathetic? Because we gotta make you hate Jiren. He's the final bad guy. Even though he's supposedly a good guy who fights for justice and is a ripoff of Superman. But now he's a jerk? Whatever. No, I don't care about him now. I picked yes because he's still one of the strongest people out there. I mean, you know, strength alone doesn't make me care about a character. I don't care about him now. See, a lot of people are responding saying they just don't care about Jiren, and they're pretty much expressing a lot of the opinions I've shared already, saying that Jiren doesn't really have personality yet. He doesn't have character development. He doesn't have any reason to care about him other than the fact that he's badass, you know? He's OP. He's someone who's like this ultimate boss that's fighting everyone, you know, and it's in the name of justice for his character. But again, you know, what makes him any different from any of the other members on his team other than he's super strong? He doesn't even have any special abilities. He doesn't have anything that we've really seen other than things that other characters possess, except for, oh, his power is so strong he can stare at you and somehow it punches you and blocks blasts and stuff. You know, I remember on Namek, Goku dug a grave for Vegeta with his eyeballs. You know, I don't hear anyone else talking about that. But then again, it is Goku, the main character of the show, so he gets a lot of crazy abilities that they completely forget about not too long afterward. Like, remember how Goku could read minds, and then they just completely dropped that? Remember how the humans trained on King Kai's planet, and then none of them ever had Kaioken? But yeah, really, when it comes down to it, it seems like Jiren right now, a lot of people just aren't very interested in him because of the fact that he doesn't have much personality, he doesn't have much character development. But there are a lot of people who are saying that Jiren himself could still be developed in the future, that he could still be cool, that he could still, you know, become a better character. And first off, I guess we don't know for a fact if that'll ever happen because he might just be erased and never exist again in the series, and that's how Super ends. Or really, he could just be a character that is just wasted potential and he's never really developed in the future, or they just basically throw him aside after he loses, and that's Jiren's character. He's just like a movie villain. He's done after this, you know? But the thing is, for me, even if they do develop Jiren as a character, even if they give him a lot to work with post Dragon Ball Super, or even in like these final episodes of the tournament, even if they really flesh him out, is it going to be too little, too late? At that point, is anyone really going to look at Jiren's arc the entire tournament, where he's basically just stood around and kind of been a jerk and not really like helped his teammates, and even though he's so powerful he could beat everyone in the ring before any of them could even blink, he's not even doing anything, he's just sitting around like a boring jerk? Is anyone going to look at this entire arc that we've seen him in, this entire tournament, and then be like, oh, that was exciting because of these last couple episodes that actually made me care about him as a character? I find that very hard to believe. So for me right now, after Jiren loses, will I still care about him? I mean, I'm very doubtful. Maybe in the future of Dragon Ball, they can take Jiren and make him really developed and use him to the best visibility so that I actually will care about him. But right now, I definitely am leaning toward no. So let me know your own thoughts down below in the comments section. Will you still care about Jiren after he loses? Will Jiren still matter after he loses? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you like this content, subscribe to this channel and enable notifications so you can see all of my content right away when it comes out. And as I always say, stick around, because there's a lot more to come in the future.
Yeah, and you better subscribe, enable those damn notifications.